On August 19, 2025, the Japan Go Association announced that the oldest professional Go player, Kazuko Sugiuchi, 98 years old, has retired and officially ended her 83 years long professional Go career. She is set to be promoted to the rank of ninth dan after retiring, becoming the first woman in Japan to reach that level. Today, we're going to talk about a game that Kazuko played at the age of 96 against a female Japanese professional player, Yokota Hinano, who is 76 years younger than her.
Kazuko is playing as black and Yokota is playing as white, and the game starts out like this. White presses on top, black has to defend, and white comes back to build the corner. So this not only builds the corner, but also kind of strengthens the moyo over here. If white takes the remaining corner, probably white was worried about black approaching here and really breaking the momentum that white is building here. But of course, that would be a game as well. In the actual game, black gets the chance to come back and take the remaining corner, and white now reinforces the idea of building the moyo on top. Black defends because if you don't defend like this, white can attach and further suppress black. Therefore, this is a very interesting move. And now white follows up with the idea of building the moyo by playing the shoulder hit here, and this is what Gosegan really likes to play as well. Black pushes on top, white jumps, and now black invades directly. White plays the one space extension. Alternatively, I think white can pincer from this side as well, but maybe white was worried about something like black trying to peep here, and then you see that white does have a lot of weaknesses over here. So the one space extension is really trying to protect this group. And now black plays the wedge here. As you can see, Kazuko is playing very traditional moves, right? And this is for a 96-year-old player, this is like very it's probably something that she's very used to. Maybe here a better or a more AI or more modern way to play is probably to deal with this stone right away instead of playing the wedge here. Okay, so black wedge and connect, and white now plays another move to basically mitigate the cutting point. Black now jumps into the center. White pincers from the outside, and black attaches on top. White hanes, black extends, and white extends, black blocks. Very good shape move. You can see that this, Kazuko is a very solid player. All the moves are following proper shapes, right? There's a very good shape here, very proper shape over here, and also very proper shape over here. Just a very traditional, classic way of playing. White peeps, black connects, and white plays the keima. That's a very important move, helping to build the top and also putting pressure on black. Black turns on top, white has to defend that, and next up we have black peeping over here. So for us, the amateur level players, we are peeping just for the sake of playing a move most of the time. But this is not played randomly or casually. So this is a very serious professional game, and this move is a very professional move as well by Kazuko. So the idea behind this move is actually very deep. So most of the time our intuition would be just to block here, right? When we peep, when our opponent peeps, we don't really want to immediately connect because that feels like that's a favorable exchange for our opponent. But if you block here, this would also be good for black because this is exactly what black wanted. The idea is that before black peeps here, black really wants to jump here. This is an absolute giant move because with this move, not only black gained a lot of territory, but also strengthened the two stones, which means that white's push and cut is less severe. But before black does that, black wants to test white out, and according to white's answer, black's going to decide what to play next. If white blocks, black will just jump here. Now black achieved the goal of having a lot of territory and fixing the weakness, but also this exchange is actually better for black. The reason is that when white start an attack on black, black can cut here. White connects, and now black can extend on the second line. This is a sente. White has to capture black here, and now black can hop in onto the third line and live locally. So white blocks, black bumps into white, and Hane. White Hanes, black cuts, and then connect. White Ataris, and black can simply come back and just make a life locally, right? So black can either make a life, but this is of course a little passive. Black can of course think about try to struggle here first, right? If black can get an eye in Sente here, then black doesn't really have to come back and make a life here because there's already an eye over here. But that is the idea, right? So the idea of Kazuko trying to exchange this is that later on it makes this group a lot more comfortable because the second line extension is a Sente. So this is a very, very deep idea. This is not played randomly. Now, if white connects, though, black's going to follow up with a turn here. White connects, black jumps, and now white blocks, and here black plays the bamboo. So black would also achieve the same goal of strengthening here and getting a lot of territory. But more importantly, we see that this clamp, right? It's almost as if black clamped here, but white decides to connect. But of course, this exchange is good for black because normally white would extend on the first line and kill the black stone here. But instead, black was able to get this clamp, and this is a favorable exchange for black. So this is why I say this move is a very, very professional move. It's a very deep idea behind it. In the actual game, I think Yokota played extremely well as well. Instead of responding locally, white decides to first push and cut. And this is a very good response to black testing move. So white is basically saying, instead of letting black testing me, I'm gonna test black first. And according to what black's gonna respond here, I'm gonna come back and decide how I'm gonna respond to this move. So these are very professional moves actually. So against the cut, if black connects in the corner, this would be falling into white's trap because white wanted this exchange to be favorable for white. And the reason this is favorable for white is that this stone would actually weaken the two stones on the outside. Black's connect would solidify the corner, but the problem is black wanted to play a move in a corner anyway. So this makes black in a very awkward situation after white connects here. When white connects, if black follows up with the same idea, then we can see that this cut is so favorable for white because now we have black spending a move to fix the corner, but also spending another move in exchange, right, to connect in a corner. So we can see some over concentration for black here, and that's exactly what white wanted. White can now attach black, forcing black to turn, and now this is just because of this exchange, this is a better position for white. So this is a very subtle, a very high level understanding of Go. That's why in the actual game, Kazuko read this out, and therefore she decided to Atari on the outside. White cuts, black takes, and now white attaches in the corner. Black is forced to capture the stone. And here, white blocks on the outside. This is a very nice move. It's looking at the tiger's mouth, making black really awkward here. Next up, we have black extending on the second line. You can see from this game that Kazuko, the 96-year-old player, her style is very, very solid. Like all the moves are very good shape moves, right? No weakness. This group has no weak. Well, this group is weak. It might be under attack, but the shape-wise, there's no weakness. And the next move, she plays a move like this, and it leaves a lot of Aji inside white's territory over here, as well. There's some Aji over here. So very, she likes to play this kind of clean moves that leaves a lot of Aji behind. But from an AI perspective, maybe at this point, it is better for black to actually attach into white. This would prevent the connection in Sente, right? Like white is aiming at the tiger's mouth. So with this move, we fix the problem here in Sente. If white hanes, then now we can come back and turn here. This is an absolutely giant move. And white's tiger's mouth not going to work, as I said. So likely white's going to attack on top, and black needs to figure out, some sort of way to get out. So that would be a slightly more efficient way for black to play. But black's style is very solid, as I said. Extending on the second line, looking at the jump over here, and also there's also ways to get out through the center. Next up, we have a white clamping here, an absolute huge move when it comes to territory. And now black decided to invade. And from this move, I was very impressed and touched by this professional player, Kazuko. At the age of 96, you can still see how much energy there is in her play, right? If she wanted to play solid right now, it's either jumping out towards the center, making sure the group is safe, or she can jump over here, right? Trying to establish a base, making sure that this group is secure. But this move is basically saying that I'm not really afraid of your attack here. I can deal with I can read things out, and I can live this group, and I'm confident about it. So this is a very strong message, and this shows how much youth and how much energy there is in her play. In the actual game, Yokota decided to respond to this. Black crawls, white honeys, and now black jumps back. So here, this is a slight mistake from Kazuko at this point. Here, the correct move is just follow intuition and just play the Hane here. White extends, black extends, and then white blocks. And now black can either jump over here, or more importantly, just jump over here and establish a base. So if white attacks, then black still has some sort of way to deal with it, making use of the weaknesses that white has. Black can get out from here, no problem. It looks a little dangerous, but tactically, this is going to work for black, actually. But as we see, the black style is very rock solid. She decided to jump back, making sure that like the connection, there's no issue with the connection. Now white jumps on the second line, preventing black from getting the base. Black jumps towards the center, and now white comes back and connect on the fourth line. Black attaches on top, and then attach. White extends, black honeys, white peeps in, try to kill black. Black connects, white pushes, and black keeps going. White extends, and here we can see that there's no clear way for black to live in here, and therefore black decides to patiently play the Keima on the outside. A very good move. It shows that black has a lot of experience, right? Of course, I mean, she played Go professionally for 83 years, so she has encountered all kinds of situations, and this is not news for her, right? Dying inside but leaving some Aji is very common in professional games. Later on, we can try to take advantage of the Aji inside and play move on the outside to try to reduce white. So Go is really a game of marathon, right? Maybe sometimes locally we lose, but then we can gain compensation from playing on the outside and waiting for our opportunity. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And if you want to dive deeper and support what I'm doing, check out my Patreon. I regularly post exclusive high-quality content on Joseki's pro game breakdowns and even full courses. Stuff you won't find anywhere else. The link is in the description. Thanks so much. Let's continue. Okay, next up, we have white connecting on top. That's an absolute sente. Black has to connect back. And now white starts to invade black's territory. Black pincers, very intuitive move. And here white plays a Kosumi in the center. This move isn't necessarily a bad move, but I think most players' intuition is either to jump on top, which is a very nice move, or play a one space extension, at least give white a little bit breathing space. The idea of this move is to actually threaten black, right? Where we're kind of indirectly, making sure that black is very vulnerable here, right? And then this move is going to indirectly help out our stone over here. So this is quite an advanced idea. I personally don't quite understand the value of this move that much. I would definitely have played the jump over here. The reason I'm not quite a fan of this move is because we know that this group, the corner, is absolutely solid. So we're kind of extending from a very solid group. So I'm wondering what the value, right? How much value this move definitely has value, but like how much value does it really have? Is it really worth it? Instead of playing a jump over here. But it turns out this is not such a bad move. It's just that it's not something that I understand. But if you guys have any thoughts about this move, let me know in the comment below. Black jumps, and white decides to connect through. And here, black starts an attack on our stone here. So because of the move over here, now white is kind of losing the initiative locally here. Doesn't mean that this position is worse for white. It's just that I feel like for human players, this is slightly harder to deal with, right? Than if you jumped here first. Okay, so white plays the shoulder hit, black crawls, white plays a shape move, black extends, and now white jumps towards the center. Black caps white on top. This is a very nice move. Not only strengthens black's group, but also putting pressure on white. White attaches, black blocks, white cuts, and black extends on the second line. I was very impressed and touched by this extension here. This shows that Kazuko, as someone who's 96 years old, still very energetic. It's just looking for a fight here, and not really avoiding any complication. So very interesting. My first intuition would be to extend here, right? Like, I mean, yes, white might have an eye locally here, but I mean, this is a lot safer. But look at what Kazuko plays. No eye for white, putting max pressure on the white's group. A very sharp move. White extends, black Kosumis in the center. White bumps into black. Black has to respond to that by jumping towards the center. And now white turns on the third line. Here, white's more precise move is to play the Keima on the second line. Now, against this move, if black attaches on top, white is not really worried about this variation because white can push and then extend. Here, locally, if black wants to win the Liberty fight, black has to wedge, but that still doesn't win the Liberty fight because white can simply Atari. Black connects, white can just take. And I'll leave you to verify that this is white kills black locally. So that variation doesn't work. Black's correct idea is to actually play the push here. White plays the tiger's mouth, and black now squeeze. White has to connect, and black hanes and connect through the first line. White pushes, black hanes, and white plays the bamboo. That's the shape move, and it's also a sente looking at the squeeze. Black has to connect, and white also has to connect. If white doesn't connect and rather just run towards the center, then black can attach here, and this is going to be a huge problem, right? We can see that. Like, if this group dies, it's game over. So that is a sente against white. White has to spend a move, and it looks very dangerous for white here, right? So the next move, black likely going to play a Keima, and looks like white is just dead inside. But I feel like this is a really cool moment to give my viewers a small exercise. To think about how would you play as white here, right? A lot of times in our games, we would encounter situations like this where it looks absolutely hopeless, right? If you run towards this direction, we can already tell this is not going to go well. Even black caps on the outside, like this, we're pretty much just dead. It feels like death for us. So how would you play as white to try to get out through here? I really encourage you to pause the video and think about it a little bit. It's one of those rare moments where I can leave a very interesting exercise, and I feel like my viewers would learn a lot from this. All right, so I hope you guys took some time to maybe just think a little bit about how would you play as white here. The correct idea for white here is actually very hard to find, right? You have to be pretty much a professional player to find it, or a very high down level player. The correct move is for white to counterattack in the center. So this is pretty much the perfect illustration on the principle that counterattack is your best friend when you are trying to get out, right? A lot of times our dragon is about to be killed, and if we desperately run for life or beg for mercy, it won't work, right? Because our opponent won't give us two eyes. That's never going to happen. Therefore, instead of trying to beg for life, we should try to attack our opponent. And that's one of the golden ideas in Go. When white plays the counterattack, everything looks very clear. If black plays the Kosumi and secure the kill, white can also push. And now black's dragon is in serious trouble. So instead of worrying about our life and death, black has to worry about his life and death. Because this trade, if we're able to capture dragon here, this is not a trade, right? This is a trade where white is just winning. So in this case, black is actually the one in trouble because I'm not sure how black is going to deal with the dragon over here. Now the correct move is probably for black to play safe and save the dragon here. And now we can see white attaches on top, all of a sudden, not only white is seems to be getting out, but also black is in trouble, right? It's just one move, and it's so clear because we're pushing here, right? Counterattack isn't that complicated. We're trying to push here. Do you defend it or not? If you defend it, I attach. Very clean stuff, like very easy to read out actually. Now we can see that it's black who's in trouble. So that's the way for white to get out when black attacks from here. But of course, if black spends a move to fix the issues, then white can comfortably get out through with the shape move that black was playing. Very interesting exercise. I hope you guys learned something about counterattack, the importance of counterattack. All right, that's the variation that wasn't played out. Maybe Yokota didn't read out the counterattack in the center. In the actual game, white turns, black crawls, and white hanes. Black has to get back with a Kosumi. White connects, and black also connects on the first line. White now plays the shape move, trying to get out. So this is a mistake when it comes to idea for white. At this point, white's definitely ahead, but white has to be very precise. And the correct move is still for white to counterattack, right? When your group is in trouble, you need to play very aggressive, looking at your opponent's weakness instead of just trying to run. And that's the exact mistake that white made as a professional player. So counterattack is a very hard idea when it comes to execution. So white played very passive, and now black is gaining the momentum back a little bit. Black attaches on top, white blocks, and black connects. White connects, black cuts, and this is all forced. And after black turns here, white has to connect with no points. And now, as we can see, black was able to gain this profit in Sente. And now black is completely back in this game. And we can see how strong Kazuko is with this sequence. It's very well played by black. Black now jumps here, and white decides to defend. And here, this is a great opportunity for white to initiate a counterattack by jumping towards the center. Because simply defending here, of course, white wanted to defend it because there's a lot of Aji here, right? Like later on, black can cut over here and jump out, and there's a lot of issues. But instead of worrying about the issues, white should really look at black's issues in the center by jumping towards the center. White's play was too passive, and now black takes the momentum and play a very beautiful two-space extension. Such a beautiful shape move, right? Like it not only encloses the corner, but putting pressure on white's group. White plays the Keima, black defends, white extends, and black connects. Here, once again, white has been very consistent about the idea, right? It just turns out that Yokota didn't read out the center, and she didn't really think about counterattacking. Here, the best idea is still for white to either try to poke the center like this or poke it like this, right? After black connects, white really should start a counterattack. This would be a very chaotic game in the center, and this would give white more chances. In the actual game, white decides to play the Keima. That's very passive because after these exchanges, black has no weakness in the center. It's true that white's connection is safer, but after black is able to become very strong in the center, this game is just in black's momentum. So the reason white, sacrifice or kind of fix black's weakness in Sente is because white wanted to go into the corner and live. Black Hanes, white Hanes, black Ataris, and here black flip Atari. This is a mistake by white, obviously, because there's a famous saying that you should extend once, right? Your third line stone, you shouldn't allow it to be for your opponent to take a Panuki. Rather, you should sacrifice one more. So what white was probably worried about was like black Atari in here, but you really shouldn't worry about this because black and Atari, black captures, white Ataris, black Atari. If this plays out, then black loses all the territory on the side, and this is obviously not a variation that black can choose. So there was no reason for white to worry about this variation. Black will probably still block in the corner. Then we can see that after this flip Atari and connect, our extension leaves a lot of Aji in the corner. In the actual game, white Ataris, black takes the Panuki, and this makes blacks really strong. White Atari's on top, black pushes, and white captures. Black extends, and here white decides to fight for the kill. Black takes, white squeezes, that's a sente, and white takes back, black connects. White now plays another Atari on the second line. Black takes, and here white pushes on top. This is a sente, or else black will be disconnected. White takes back, and black cuts on top. Now we can see the value of this dead group, right? At least we have a lot of co-threats locally. White turns, black takes, and here white plays the throw in. So at this point, Kazuko has a very obvious way to get a very big advantage. Is at this point simply cut over here. If white takes, this is just points, right? This is some points, but this is not going to compensate for what white lost in the corner. So this would be a leading game for black. Very simple leading game. But in the actual game, black actually decided to just take the stone. White takes, and the reason black is doing that is because black still has co-threats in the corner. Black extends, white follows up, black takes back, and here white plays the peep in the center, and Kazuko read out everything correctly and realizes that she can just give up the 3 stones. White claims the profits, but then after black plays the Keima, we can see that black secured entire corner plus the site. This is a tremendous amount of territory. White peeps on top, black blocks, and white plays the Kosumi here. And here I really like what Kazuko has played in the game. Most of us would just block here without thinking, but this moment shows that Kazuko is an excellent professional player. In the actual game, she played out the Hane. White Hanes and black connects. It's a very big endgame. It solidifies the territory over here, prevents a lot of Aji that white has, and also leaves a little bit of weakness over here. White plays the peep, that's a sente, and then white, of course, breaks the territory over here. But as we can see, that this group is rock solid. It's absolutely alive. So what white got was just some just some territory over here, right? She broke some territory over here, but that's it. Not a big deal. And here, black jumps in the center is a very important move, making sure that there's no Aji left. So at this point, black is definitely leading in this game because of the mistake that white played here. Very passive, not counterattacking black in the center. And also this move, right? Not just focusing on your own weakness and not counterattacking black. That gives a lot of momentum to black. And at this point, black is probably leading by 12 points on the board. White plays the Kosumi. That's a very nice move, trying to break into black's territory even more. And black pushes on top. White Kosumis and black Hanes. White extends. These are all sente moves. And now black plays out a very beautiful endgame stuff by connecting here. We all know white cannot connect, and therefore white plays the connect on top. Black Ataris. White Ataris, black takes, and white blocks, that's a sente, black connects, and white plays the tiger's mouth. Black also blocks, because otherwise there's a monkey jump, that's a very big move, and therefore black has to block here. And next we have white jump on the second line. Black plays the squeeze here, this is a sente or else there's a wedge, and therefore white needs to add another move. And here, black plays the turn here. This looks like a very good move, but actually this is a mistake by Kazuko. So at this point, if Kazuko just played something like taking here, right, getting rid of the Aji here, then this would be a winning game for Kazuko for sure. And it's not hard for black to actually maintain the lead all the way to the end because we can see that there's not a lot of endgame left, and black is quite ahead. When black turns over here, tactically, there's a problem for black. And of course, to punish this mistake, you have to be a very strong player who's done a lot of exercises. The correct move here is for white to wedge. So when white plays the wedge, if black Atari's on top, white will simply connect. Black captures, and here white can take, that's a sente. Black has to connect, and now white can cut in the center. And we can see that either these 2 stones will die or these guys will die, right? So likely black needs to save the 2 stones here because it connects the group over here. But when white connects, we can see that's a complete turn around for white. Then this would be a leading game for white if this happens. So black cannot Atari on top. Black can only Atari on the third line. White connects. If black connects like this, then white can take. Black connects and white Hanes on top. And we can see there's an obvious problem. When black Ataris, we can Atari and Atari. And then we can simply connect on the second line. And then we can see there's a similar result where black just lost the group over here. Which means at this point, black pretty much has to, play like this, letting white come back and capture the group. But if the game plays out like this, this would become a close game once again, and the end game would matter a lot. Luckily for Kazuko, white didn't really see this blunder, and therefore she plays the second line block, letting black capture on top. And now we can see there's no problem anymore. And at this point, black is definitely leading by enough that it's not possible for white to come back only through the end game. So I think throughout this game, Kazuko has shown an extreme high level of play, and I was very impressed. I just have mad respect for this player. At such high age, she's shown such, when it comes to just pure skills, or just her level of play is just very professional. You can tell from the second line peep here. You can tell from the way she plays in the corner. Once she realized that she's dead, she immediately stopped and played on the outside and stayed very patient. And she played very good shapes throughout this game. And a lot of moves are just very professional level moves. So I'm very impressed by black's play. And you can tell that her opponent has taken this game very seriously, where she's really not trying to kind of give Kazuko a chance, right? She's really trying her best to fight against Kazuko. I guess that's a better way to put it. But she still lost, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, this happens to be the last professional winning game for Kazuko in her life. And I chose this game to show my respect for this legendary player. And I'm very impressed by this game, and I hope you guys enjoy this game as well.